Welcome again, guys, to Bet Tips. Last week, see us slightly let down by West Brom, and as you can imagine, I'm in touch with a number of tipsters to look at certain tips around the UK, and West Brom let a lot of people down. So we had Preston and West Brom to win. Preston did. West Brom unfortunately let us down. This week, we're concentrating on the Premier League. How good is the fact that the Premier League is back? It feels like it hasn't been long since we've been spoilt with the World Cup, but it's back, and it's back in full vengeance. So this week's banker bet is treble. I'm looking at Tottenham to beat Newcastle, Chelsea to beat Huddersfield, Liverpool to beat West Ham. Starting with Tottenham, again, Tottenham played Newcastle on the opening day of the season last year and won 2-0. And again, I fancy them to do the same, 1 or 2-0 potentially, but definitely a Tottenham win. Although they haven't signed anyone this season in terms of the summer transfer window. A record-breaking year in that way. Strange, but I do expect them to be strong enough. Although there may be a few people that probably won't be match fit, I still think they've got a strong enough team to beat Newcastle. In terms of Chelsea, I expect Chelsea to beat Huddersfield. Strange transfer markets for Chelsea. Obviously losing Courtois, but gaining Kepa. So an exciting talent. May take a little bit of time to settle in, but you tend to find, Chelsea will always come good at a team like Huddersfield. The likes of the Hazards, etc. Their team should come good. Again, not sure who's going to be starting due to the World Cup, who's going to be match fit, but again, a strong enough squad to beat the likes of Huddersfield. So a good away win, I expect there. In terms of the odds for Chelsea to win, 3 to 5 on. So obviously heavily favourites. And finally, Liverpool to beat West Ham. Again, both clubs have spent well in the summer, but Liverpool had an impressive team last year and, of course, have upgraded, certainly in terms of keeper, as well as a number of other positions. But they look very strong midfield. They've always looked very strong going forward, obviously. Will Salah potentially get a good start after the season? Well, again, World Cup-wise, he obviously came home slightly earlier than a number of the other players, so he should be ready to go. And so I expect a high-scoring game, but definitely a Liverpool win. Probably to 3 or 4 to 0. Wouldn't surprise me at all. So just to confirm the banker bet, Tottenham to beat Newcastle, Chelsea to beat Huddersfield, Liverpool to beat West Ham. I've personally done a stake of £9 that pays £39 return. Great returns for a banker bet. So the long shot for the weekend, I've gone with a fourfold. £5 pays £160.94. As you can see, I've got a £5 free bet. Always good with Sky Bets. So in terms of the long shot, Tottenham to beat Newcastle. Again, I've stuck with the same decision in terms of the banker bet. The reason this is obviously a more of a long shot is it's got a couple of draws. Draws always obviously increase the odds. So Tottenham to beat Newcastle. Now the first draw, Fulham versus Crystal Palace. Again, I expect that to be quite a tight game. Obviously, London derby. Fulham, who have signed some good players, but I think may take a little bit of time to gel in the Premiership in terms of the players they've signed. But they've got some exciting talent. Palace, on their day, if they turn it on, they can beat the likes of Fulham without a problem. However, it's not always consistent. So I expect a tight game, probably a score draw, 1 or 2 probably is most likely, but definitely I would be back in the draw there. As you can see, Chelsea to beat Huddersfield, again, that was on the banker bet, and again, I think Chelsea's strength in depth will be too strong for Huddersfield. And lastly, a draw, Wolves versus Everton. Everton signed a number of players and again look very, very good and will look good. However, the players they've signed, I do think, again, will take time to gel. Wolves are going to be up for the first game at home. back in the Premier League. I think it's going to be a really, really exciting opportunity for them to get some points on the board. But I do think Everton do have a strong team. So I expect a potential draw. Again, I don't expect many goals in this one personally. I think maybe a 0-0, a 1-1 potentially. But I do think, again, as a long shot, the draw would be the best option. Excellent. So they're the tips for this weekend. Please also follow me on Twitter, BetTips03. A number of followers, obviously. And what I tend to do is not only post my tips, I look at events around, obviously, the footballing world. Again, I'm generally football related. Looking for football, then look no further. On the YouTube channel, again, these videos will be continuing. I like to be able to explain what the tips are about rather than just post them on Twitter and Facebook. But again, I have got a Facebook page, Bet Tips, and again, a Twitter page, BetTips03. Thank you for listening, and let's beat the bookies.